close. It was a small school. We knew each other. Elvis was always
before, not like this. Red didn't even know Elvis that well, but something about watching three guys gang up on one struck him as fundamentally wrong. By the time the dust settled, Elvis had found more than a protector. He'd found the person who would become his enforcer, his confidant, and eventually his biggest liability. What started as high school loyalty evolved into something much darker and more complex. When Elvis got his first record deal, he brought Red along. Not officially at first, just as a friend who happened to be good with his fists. But as the crowds got bigger and the fans got crazier, Red's role crystallized into something essential. He wasn't just keeping the grabby fans away. He was handling the problems that money and fame couldn't solve. The drunk who insulted Elvis at a gas station and needed to be taught a lesson. The reporter who got too close to a story about Elvis's pills. The boyfriend of a girl Elvis wanted, who needed to understand it was time to disappear. By 1967, things had shifted into genuinely dangerous territory. Elvis pulled Red aside one night in Los Angeles, his eyes glassy from whatever cocktail of medications he'd consumed, and told him about a problem that needed to be permanently resolved. The man in question had supposedly threatened to expose Elvis's drug connections to the press. Elvis's exact words, according to Red's later testimony, were unforgettable in their casual brutality. He wanted this person gone, and he wanted Red to make it happen. For the first time in 13 years of friendship, Red West looked at Elvis Presley and saw a complete stranger. Red managed to talk Elvis down that night, convincing him that murder would bring more problems than any expose ever could. But something fundamental had broken between them. Red realized he wasn't a friend anymore, hadn't been for years. He was hired muscle with a treasury of dangerous knowledge, and Elvis was starting to see him as just another employee who knew too much. The other members of the Memphis Mafia could sense the shift too. Sonny West, Red's cousin, would later describe watching Red's transformation from Elvis's most loyal defender to his most reluctant accomplice. The incidents kept escalating through the early 70s. Red found himself covering up drug deals with doctors who supplied Elvis with enough pharmaceuticals to stock a pharmacy. He was paying off women who Elvis had gotten rough with during his increasingly erratic episodes. He was even strong-arming other celebrities who Elvis perceived as threats or rivals. Each cover-up added another secret to Red's collection, another piece of leverage he never wanted but couldn't escape. The real tragedy was that Red could see what was happening to Elvis, could see the paranoia eating him alive, the drugs destroying his body and mind, the isolation turning him into something monstrous. Red had tried interventions, tried reasoning, tried everything short of walking away. But how do you walk away from someone you've protected for 20 years? How do you... total collapse. Red West had protected Elvis from everything for 22 years, and now, in trying to destroy him with the truth, he was inadvertently pushing Elvis toward his final destruction. The book would hit shelves in August 1977. Elvis would be dead 2 weeks later. There was one story Red West never put in the book, one revelation so explosive that even in his rage he couldn't bring himself to expose it. 40 years later, dying of heart disease in a Memphis hospital, Red finally told his son what he'd kept buried all those years. It wasn't about drugs or violence or sexual scandals. It was about Elvis Presley's secret relationship with the federal government, a betrayal so profound that it would have destroyed not just Elvis's career, but his writing the book that had exposed Elvis's demons to the world. He was apologizing for something far deeper and more painful: his failure to save Elvis from the gilded cage that had slowly suffocated him. Red understood, perhaps better than anyone, that the book had accelerated Elvis's final downward spiral, adding fuel to the flames of his self-destruction. Yet he also recognized a harder truth: Elvis had been dying for years, gradually crushed beneath the unbearable weight of being America's most celebrated icon while harboring secrets that could never be fully revealed. The real tragedy of Elvis Presley's death extended far beyond his premature passing. It lay in the fact that he died still carrying the burden of secrets that had fundamentally transformed him. These hidden truths had twisted the rebellious young musician who had once challenged America's cultural boundaries into something he had never wanted to become. The king of rock and roll had become a prisoner of his own legend, trapped by circumstances and choices that had reshaped his identity in ways the public would never fully comprehend. Red West carried most of those secrets with him to his own grave decades later, choosing to protect Elvis's memory even after their complicated relationship had ended, even after everything that had transpired between them. Because ultimately, Red understood that some truths possess the power to destroy not just reputations, but legacies that transcend individual lives. This represents just one chapter in the hidden history of Elvis Presley's inner circle, one fragment of a much larger and darker story. The tale of how Colonel Tom Parker manipulated and controlled Elvis through intimidation and leverage reveals even deeper layers of tragedy. For those seeking to understand the complete picture of how America's greatest rock and roll star became trapped in a web of secrets and exploitation, the full story awaits. These are the kinds of buried truths that Hollywood has kept hidden for generations, stories that are only now beginning to emerge into the light of day.